Thank you, Paul. I don't know who you're talking about, but I'd really like to meet him. A Jewish man and his wife were having an argument. Suddenly he gets up, goes to the phone, calls their son and says, "Your mother and I are getting divorced." "What?" his son says. No, don't do anything. I'm calling sis, we're flying in. Don't do anything until we get there." He hangs up the phone, looks at his wife, and cocks an eyebrow. "Okay, smart guy," she says. "And how are you going to get the kids to come to Pesach next year?" So I'd like to thank the board for bringing my kids here. And what are you going to do next year? No, they actually visit a lot. When Aaron Al-Hadaf told me that I was selected to be the honoree today, the first thing I thought of was my father would be very proud. As most of you know, the JCC was very important to him, and as you've heard, his photo is on the wall of past presidents, and he was a president of the Jewish Federation as well as other organizations here. Driving away from that meeting, for some reason I thought of my science teacher when I was a kid, Mr. Paulson. He asked us, what's the most powerful force on Earth? And you know, we had all kinds of answers: hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, bombs, hydrogen bombs. So he kept shaking his head. Finally, we ran out of answers, and he said, the most powerful force on Earth is erosion. And he explained how erosion turns mountains into plains and rivers into lakes, lakes into oceans. And for many years, I thought that was true. Until I learned that erosion is not the most powerful force on Earth. Do you know what it is? Parental approval. So there I was, a grown man with grown children, and the first thing I thought of 11 years after my father, Martin Rind, of blessed memory, had passed was how he would feel about it. So for all of the parents in this room, now and future, here is my advice to you. Tell your children you're proud of them. The thing is, whatever they're doing, they're going to do it anyway. You won't change that, but if you're proud of them, and if you tell them so, you make them feel good about themselves and closer to you. I've had a lot of involvement here, as you heard, over many years. I went to JCC day camp at Lake Sammamish State Park. I went to Camp Bembo, did high school youth group things. I played basketball. I coached my son's basketball, chaired the league for a while, and had kids in preschool. I've been for many years on the board and in the capital campaign, and I was very proud to follow my father's footsteps as board president. Our community is so blessed to have this place, and yet we often take it for granted. How do you put a value on the creation of lifelong friendships, marriages, and a sense of community that our JCC provides? You heard my friend Paul say that he and his wife met right here at the JCC, as did our friends Aaron and Emily Al-Hadaf. My daughter Danielle and my son Amit both have lifelong friends that they've met here. Look around you, and I mean that literally. Take a moment, look around you, and count how many friendships you have for people in this room that are part of your everyday lives, people that you met in this building. Imagine how impoverished our lives would be without those friendships. More than anything else, the Jewish Community Center provides the ties that bind our community members to each other, thus ensuring that we survive and thrive as a community. I sat in a meeting several months ago during which most of the funds were raised for the acquisition of the adjoining property, as Judy described, and the first phase of the JCC's renovation. I was pleased and very proud to see 3 members of a generation younger than myself step up and give generously: Aaron and Emily Al-Hadaf, Jeremy and Alicia Lott, and Mimi Rosen and Nate Goldberg. Each of them, at their turn, spoke of their pride in the JCC and their joy that their children loved this place. As they spoke, it occurred to me, I have no grandchildren yet, and that my children, my very good-looking unmarried children, just by the way, do not live at the moment in this community. So when I made my pledge, I was stepping up not for my sake, nor for their sake, but for the sake of Aaron and Emily's children, Jeremy and Alicia's, Mimi and Nate's, and most importantly, for the children of people I don't know and may never know. Why? Because that's what we do. It's what we've always done, and it's the reason we have a Jewish community. Before I conclude, I'd like to leave you with a thought. When Steve Jobs was searching for a CEO of Apple Computer, he spent months lobbying John Sculley, then the chair of Pepsi, to take the job. One day, Steve Jobs pulled Sculley aside, put a finger in his chest, and said, "Do you want to spend the rest of your life making flavored water, or do you want to change the world?" It's a powerful and persuasive question, and Sculley was persuaded. Now, none of us can be CEO of Apple, but we can change the world, our world, right here. The JCC is a wonderful institution, but the physical plant is well beyond its shelf life. We are in the midst of a phased capital campaign, and many of you here will be contacted to participate. When you are, please recall my words today. We have the power to change our world, to ensure the health, the well-being, and the longevity of our Jewish community. Let's make this place spectacular, for the sake of our children and for the sake of children we don't even know. There are many thanks I owe today. First and foremost to my parents, Bernice and Martin Rind. Mom, thank you for raising me to be a good man and a good Jew. You and Dad taught us many things. Thank you for teaching me that the more you give, the richer you become. I'd like to thank the board for giving me this honor, and I'd like to thank the staff, particularly Marcy Worth and Gail Pollack, for the incredible amount of work they put in for this. Thank you to Nancy and Paul, our very dear friends, for stepping up and chairing the event. And to the sponsors and donors, thank you for your generous support of the JCC, and thank all of you for coming here today and honoring me and the organization. I'd like to thank my family members who have flown in for this, my brother Miles, my mother-in-law Helen Van Workum, and my children Amit and Danielle. Thank you to my wife Celeste for your patience, your love, and your support. And lastly, I'd actually like to say thanks to my children, not only for, excuse me, not only for flying in for this, and not only because you become the kind of adults that I'd always hoped you'd be, but because we do this for you. Everything you see here, all these people, all this support, is what we do to show our children what a full and satisfying Jewish life looks like and how it brings us joy and fulfillment. And I hope and pray that one day you'll be able to say the same thing to your own children. Thank you all for your kind attention.